Welcome to 10 Talks, real conversations with champions for champions. I'm your host, Emily Love.
And I'm Carlette Patterson, your head sports life coach. And the desired outcome of our real conversations for champions with champions is to share our passion for sports life coaching. We want to get you coached, and our purpose for training you for a life that you love is we want to connect you to what matters to you in your life and the power of being a champion in your own life. A champion life is a 10 life. Hi, team. Again, as we reflect on season 1, as we step into really watching our film and the joy of going back and looking at all of our amazing guests that we had, we want to bring you some of our favorites from the highlight reel. And today, that's going to be Kevin Fournier. And he was the founder of a direct selling company for 25 years. And he led this corporation in this field of sales teams to well over $1 billion in sales since the launch in 1995. He was responsible for operations in over 20 countries, including the U.S., Puerto Rico, Canada, Australia, and the Philippines. He is a frequent speaker and trainer at company conventions and events. He's the co-founder of Go-G Kids, a global charitable giving enterprise helping improve the lives of children and needs around the world. And he served on the board of directors of the Direct Selling Association for a couple of years. His passion is empowering people with the skills and beliefs that they need to live an extraordinary life. So with a resume like that, I wonder, does Kevin even have performance barriers of anxiety and fear? Does he have the same things that you and I are going through? Or once you get to this level in your career, are those things behind you? Well, team, from what I found out by all the champions that I have the honor of coaching and working with, all of the things that show up in our life, from anxiety, fear, any performance barrier that really gets in the way of us not being our best self, those are just life management moments that we actually discover amazing winning strategies. And we want to dive into this conversation with Kevin and hear about how does he manage anxiety and fear and make it work for him.
Tell us about how you managed your anxiety and pressure with your internal drive and that competitive greatness that really is just in your heart to go for the things you wanted while you were also honoring who you are and what's important to you.
Yeah, gosh, again, such great questions. I think, first of all, I kind of came to just this realization that I, again, sort of redefined pressure, redefined anxiety as something that is negative to something that is part of the process, right? That is part of sort of where I want to go in my life. And that little redefinition, I actually would call it a big redefinition, really kind of helps me to anchor in what I'm going through is part of the process to get me to ultimately, where I want to be.
Team, I want to coach you up on the concept of how do we really utilize our fears and our anxiety to actually push us into really going for what we want and using that fear and anxiety as courage and digging deep. So that's called reframing. And when we go into change management, if we want to change something about us, we've got to have new thinking. So right now, as I coach you up on really how to manage anxiety and fear, the new thinking is that this is part of the process. And instead of it being negative, it's actually somewhat getting me in shape for the life that I want or what I'm going for. So I want to give you a word picture. I want you to think about being in the gym. And when we are working out, we can do those first 5, 6, 7, 8 reps pretty easily. And we feel pretty confident about it. And we've gotten in there and usually we're strong. We've got this. And once we get more to 10, 11, or 12, we can get a little shaky. We got to dig deep. We got to really challenge ourselves to remember what our goal was. Remember that we made a commitment to go for 12 reps or 15. That's the same thing that happens in life, is that from my experience, the anxiety and the fear shows up when I'm pushing myself kind of into that 10, 11, 12 rep. And I want you to think about if you do work out or when you've worked out, it's that rep, that 10, 11, and 12 rep that is what changes me. That's the one that is actually starting to, give me muscles and give me the things that I want. It's not the reps that are easy. It's not rep 5, 6, 7, and 8. The ones that change me and help me become who I want or achieve my goals in the gym, it's that one that was pretty uncomfortable. It's the one that I had to dig deep and really anchor in my purpose. So as we think about anxiety and fear, instead of anchoring in anxiety and fear, I want you to have some new thinking and actually anchor in the fact that this is pushing me into understanding that it's part of the process, that I'm going for something that's really important to me. And when we go for things that are important to us, it's going to be uncomfortable. And just getting comfortable being uncomfortable, thinking of those reps, and remember that when I push myself, the result is really good. So the new thinking is anxiety and fear can have something positive as long as I push myself through it and push myself into what really matters. So a reframe on that is anxiety and fear has a purpose. It's bringing me to really determine, does this matter to me, and am I going to push through it? Now, the new skill is that I've got to really figure out what to do with this anxiety and fear so that it's not taking me out of the game of life. Instead, I'm using it as motivation, and I'm really digging deep to think about the purpose more than the anxiety and fear. Yes, I'm going to acknowledge it. Yes, I'm going to have the truth that this is what happens, and this is what happens when I'm afraid or when I'm going for something. But the new thinking is it's worth it. I want the change. The new skill is how can I use my anxiety and fear to actually help me push into the reps of courage, anchoring in the fact that who I am and what's important to me really matters. And the third one from change management, we've got new thinking, new skills is new hope. And you know what? We've got to have hope in ourselves, hope in the process. And how do we really do that? Well, Kevin has got a great winning strategy when it comes to hope and how to give it. And he talks about it in the ripple effect.
The other thing that I find is really important is that there's something called the ripple effect, right? And that if you drop a penny in a pond, it ripples out, right? So this one little action creates all this multiple actions after it. I've always been a big believer, if I can make one person's day better, if I can help them see one thing in themselves from a positive perspective that they don't see right now, that was something that drove me every day. That was something that, we can sometimes get lost in the bigness of our goals, the bigness of where we want to be. And what I would do is obviously stay focused on that, but at the same time, the little things that would make the difference, where I would see the positive benefits in other people that I can share by spreading hope, by being nice to people, by having a genuine reason to compliment people, to recognize people for their efforts. I mean, a huge winning strategy for me throughout my life has been recognition of people for their efforts, finding those little things. And I just find that also, while you're going through all the stuff in your life, those moments where you can make a difference, wow, they make you realize that you're going down this process. It's worth every minute of it. It's okay to have anxiety and pressure in your life. In fact, again, I define it as part of the process. And I'm good with it all, right? So those few things for me, the redefinition and focusing on those little ripple effect things, wow, that has been a big winning strategy for me, as I've just, looked back over the past 25 years of my life.
All right, team, it's up to you. We're going to start practicing that ripple effect. So how are we going to do that? How can one action really create a very powerful change? One of my favorite comments that Kevin talked about is how we get lost in the bigness of our goals and our lives. Well, as much as I love going for big and love really having these lives that are full of fabulous, there's also the day in and day out moments that sometimes we think it doesn't even matter. And I'm just going to go back to that change model. What's the new thinking about how small things can really make a big impact? Well, the new skill that I want you to practice this week is noticing the little things in your family, in your friends, and the people at work, and how you can capture those small things and actually share it with them. Come back as a strength or a compliment or, just cheering them on. And it'll be interesting for you to really be able to watch and see if by you showing up and really paying attention to the small things and sharing with your friends, your family, and your coworkers, the little things they do and how much they matter or really their strengths. Do you give them hope? And do you end up giving yourself hope as well? Team, if you'd like to continue hearing the entire conversation we had with Kevin as he really shared his life journey and his winning strategies, you can go to lifetrainingacademy.com. And remember that lifetrainingacademy.com is where you can go for us to coach you up and have this be all about you.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget, tune in next week and head over to iTunes and Spotify and hit subscribe.
Remember, a championship life is a 10 life. You matter. Your life matters. Create a life that you love. Give hope to others and be and choose nothing but 10s. Be you. The world needs you. Go to lifetrainingacademy.com.